It's back to more of the Business Edge on V1370.
Hello, everyone. This is Angie Huffman, your host of the Business Edge. Welcome back to this week's topic, how to get your home office organized with Barbara Boone of Busy Bee Organizing Services. But before we get back to our topic, I want to give you this week's biz tip from Susquehanna Bank. And in the spirit of this week's organizing topic, this week's biz tip is get organized. And I'm going to say, especially if you have more than one person who needs to find things in your office. You may like the clutter and know where everything is, but that won't work once you have other people working with you. So think about that fact. When you're thinking about your organizing system, will it work if I add other people into my office? And the benefit of this is that it saves time and money in payroll when you start having employees work for you and they need to find what's in your office and it takes them forever, even though it may only take you half a second. You need to consider your organizing. So the step one in that, when considering others working with you, is determine what your business organizing system needs to be. And I'm sure Barbara can help you with that. What does that system need to be? And then this next step is implement that system, put it into place. Now, this will take a lot of time, but in the end, it'll be well worth it. Then what a lot of people do is skip this next step is document the system. Okay, you may have new employees coming and going, new staff if you're using temporary help when you have bigger projects going on. You know, you don't want to have to retrain each and every person or re-explain. So if you document the system, and that means just write it down. What is your system? Where, what, who, when, how are all the papers and things kept in your office? Then the next step is you train people how to use it. And then the fifth step is enforce its use, and I mean especially with yourself. We the ones who own the system are usually the ones who will break the rule first in how to manage that system. This is going to end up in saving time, saving money because you're not paying people to find stuff, and then will be tremendous help to you and make you look more professional to your clients. This is this week's biz tip from Susquehanna Bank. Thank you. Okay, Barbara, we were talking about, we've talked about different types of organizing systems and, how you work with people and so forth. But now, once you have that system in place, you have everything organized, how do you keep it that way? I mean, in this computer age, and we're still all scratching our heads thinking, okay, computers were supposed to eliminate the paper, and all they have done is increase the paper. When I was going through my graduate program, I took an IT class, and he was also at the school, he was the head of the IT department for the college, and he said what has happened is his paper costs have gone up 1,000% since the more use of computers. And I thought it was supposed to be the other way around. So when you're maintaining this system and we're looking at all the paper and everything, how do we make this work?
Well, you're talking about two different things. Mm-hmm. In a sense, you're talking about the computer organizing, and then you're talking about maintaining any system. Mm-hmm. So let me address the computer part first. Yes, we have generated so much more paper than ever. I'm guilty of that myself. Whenever I read my email, if I don't have time to read it or if I want to have access to it, I print it out.
Okay.
And so I've created more paper for myself. So what I have to do is I have to step back and start saying, okay, now, wait a minute. I don't have to print out everything. Mm-hmm. I can access it on my computer. I can store it in a file. They even have some websites. One particular that comes to mind is realsimple.com, which is a magazine that I read avidly as an organizer. They have a place on their website where you can actually store the articles.
Oh.
So that would be a way, start looking for ways that you could not print out your paper.
Not create the paper in the first
place.
Okay.
So the first thing is to prevent the paper from coming in.
Okay.
And I actually, a lot of my home-based business clients, since they are in the home, we talk about how do you deal with your mail when it comes in.
Okay. So how do you deal with your mail when it comes in? What's a good way of dealing with it?
I've always dealt with my mail this way, but I'm probably obsessively compulsive about it.
Okay.
As soon as it comes in the door, I sort it.
Okay.
And I have a recycling paper box in my closet right in the living room. And so as soon as I open the mail, I throw away all of the marketing and material, the envelope and things that I don't need with the mail.
Okay.
And especially any junk mail that I don't want. I separate that out from what I really do want to keep. Then I only end up with maybe 3 or 4 pieces of paper a day.
Okay.
And so I put them on my stairs to take them up to my office. And so I suggest that for clients. Try to address the mail issue pretty quickly. Don't let it pile up in the envelopes.
Right. Okay. I even do that when I pick up my mail from the post office, because I use that as, place for all the business mail to go. And I stand right there in the post office, and, anything that's junk, it goes right in their trash can. Sorry, environmentalists. I'm not real good about that recycling piece, at least at that point. But it's better it stays there in the trash can at the post office than come home or into my office.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
another way that I also suggest for clients, I have a tip sheet for controlling paper flow, which I developed pretty early on. And the first thing, of course, it talks about sorting your mail, sorting it over the trash can, and then throwing away what you don't want immediately. Shredding anything that has a name or an address or an account number on it. Setting up a home for each piece of paper. Probably the what contributes to a lot of the clutter is people don't know where to put what they have.
Oh, okay.
And so that's part of what I show them is how to set up a system to put the paper away very, very quickly. Also, taking your name off of lists. And I have come across a couple of ways you can take your name off of lists by contacting the Direct Marketing Association to have your name removed. I just ran across a great website that's called Eliminating Unwanted Catalogs. How many people have tons of catalogs that come into the home or the business? And it is www.catalogchoice.org.
Okay.
And it's a free service that lets you decline paper catalogs you no longer wish to receive.
Oh, okay.
So that's the first step in getting a hold of all of this paper, is to prevent it from coming in. Then you asked me about maintaining all of the organization. That's probably the client's biggest challenge, because once I leave, are they accountable? So I suggest to them, if they can do it by themselves, to maintain it on a regular basis. Meaning, at the end of your workday, try to straighten out what you've worked on that day. Don't leave your office in disarray. Try to put things away. Even on a weekly basis, maybe at the end of the week when you've tied up all of your loose ends, again, look at your organization and kind of clean it up. Even a yearly basis. They say it takes 21 days to form a habit, so it's going to take a while for people to get into a new system of organizing. I suggest to them at the end of the year is a good time as well when you do your taxes. And that's how I purge my personal files and my business files, because I'm pulling out the information I need for taxes. Well, I'm right in there. Why don't I just look at the files and see, do I still need this file? Do I need this paper in there? And do the purging then, too.
Okay. When you talk about purging, I don't know if you've ever used this tip, but this particular technique, but I remember it from back in my retail days, where all of our paperwork in the office was set up in what we called self-purging systems, that everything was filed to the front, whether it was in a notebook or in a file, it was filed to the front. So the newest information was always in the front. And then, like, each month, and you would determine how many months back of information you needed, but So once you started a new month, you just automatically took all the way in the back, took out that last file and threw it out, or did whatever you needed to do with it, send it to corporate, whatever it was. Have you found any success with that, or needed to use that kind of system before with any clients? Tell us about that.
Yes, that is a good system. And there are some kind of rules of thumb that organizers follow with the filing. And one of them would be to file your most recent things in the front. And then as you go through each whatever system that you have, to take a look at the things that are in the back and actually purge those. I've often used a tickler file with my clients. And I don't know if a lot of people have heard about the tickler. It's been around for a long time. And so that is the same kind of idea where you are constantly moving your dates up closer to you. And so you're getting rid of things that aren't useful anymore.
Okay, so what is a tickler file for those who may not have heard that
Okay, the
term?
tickler file is, the name came from, it's going to tickle your memory.
Okay.
So you set it up with the months of the year and the days of the month. So you would have 31 folders, and each day of the month labeled. And then you would, in front of mine, I have a folder that I call pending. And the tickler file is not a permanent filing system. It is just a temporary holding system for files. And so if I start off with, let's say it's December the 1st, I have December, the folder December in front, and then I have 1 through how many days are in that month. As I go to each day, I look at that day, and if I have anything in that folder, I deal with it.
Okay.
And then I put that folder to the back. So that the next day, number 2 is in front of me. And when that day comes, I deal with whatever is in there.
Okay. So as paper comes in or things come in that you need to remember to do on a particular day, you automatically file it in whatever day of that month it needs to go into. So that when that day comes up, it's right there ready for you.
It's a great system for temporary files to keep. You can even use it. Now here is a time where I break the rule of mixing your personal and your business. You could keep tickets in there for a play that you've gotten 3 months ahead of time, or tickets to a game or something. I keep a lot of my networking flyers in there because I want to remember the day of that networking event. I want to have all the information handy. And most flyers have the address, the date, and all that information there. So that's how I use it the most.
Okay. How else can people use this tickler file?
They could use it to pay bills.
Okay. Alrighty.
It's a good system for that.
Okay.
They could possibly use it. I've heard of clients who have used a mini tickler file, like a file box with file cards in it, to remember to follow up with clients.
Okay, great. All right, so that's a way to use a tickler file. We're going to break. We have one segment left and time for one more phone call.